Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And in this series, we're going to be going through all the planets, okay? And the host for this video is Scorpio, okay? So Scorpio through all the planets, all right? But before we get into that, if you enjoy my readings, you certainly could book a reading with me. I do astrology readings, birth natal chart interpretation readings, as well as tarot. So all you have to do is email me and we can go forward with that. Okay, so getting back into the video, which is Scorpio through all the planets, okay? And I love doing this series because astrology is so diverse and we always talk about the sun sign and sun this and sun that, but we don't understand how diverse astrology is and how a sign can manifest differently through each planet, okay? And it shows a diversity. So I want to expand our minds and see astrology for what it is, which is a very diverse, colorful study. All right, so without further ado, and the first is Sun, okay? Sun, Scorpio. So when it comes to your sun sign, this represents the actions you take. So Sun Scorpios are acting on Scorpio energy and Scorpio characteristics. This is your actions. So the first thing with Sun Scorpios is that they're very private, very introverted, very mysterious, very inward, okay? Introverted. So the sun sign is about the energy you release, but Scorpio is the opposite. It's very introverted. So the way these people act, Sun Scorpios, they're very private, okay? They're very hidden. They like to be private. They like to keep secrets. They like to have more of an inner world that's active and kind of suppress their actions on the outside, okay? So they're very private, very secretive, and very mysterious, and a lot of their actions are going to be like that, okay? You know, they're going to be hard to find. They're going to be very quiet, okay? They're going to keep a lot of things to themselves, okay? They're not going to really put themselves out there like that. So it gives them a very secret, mysterious, and hidden type of energy, and this is what makes people because this is their image, this is what makes people very curious about Scorpios, Sun Scorpios. People are very curious about them because you are a mystery and you give off that aura, okay? Sun deals with your aura, and the aura for Sun Scorpio is mystery, okay? So definitely very mysterious, definitely very private. Also with Sun, we're talking about our image, like I said. So a lot of times, you know, with Sun Scorpios, their image is very dark, very mysterious. They can dress in a very mysterious way. They can use lots of dark colors, okay? The way that they present themselves, their image, their expression is very mysterious. So it even goes down to your look, okay? Sun sign can deal with how you dress, how you present yourself. And when you have Sun in Scorpio, it can be very mysterious, very dark type of fashion. Okay, you might not like to wear too many colors, okay? You might wear things that are mysterious, that are deep, that are kind of dark, okay? Have a dark energy to them, maybe be a lot of piercings or something like that. Something that gives a dark type of aura. This is very Sun Scorpio, and Sun dealing with our image, this is how you express yourself. So their image is very dark. Also with Sun Scorpio, these people, as you know, private as they are, as conservative as they can come off, they have a lot of energy on the inside, okay? Again, Scorpio is a very introverted energy, so they have a lot going on the inside. But because this is your sun and you express this stuff, eventually these things get expressed, and Sun Scorpios can have really big outrages, like they can really explode, okay? Because they have so much boiling within them. And the way that they express themselves, they can express this dark energy, this tense energy that's boiling up within inside of them. So they can have a lot of moments where they explode, they pop off, you know, they react in a very huge way because of the intensity that they have inside. A lot of intense emotions, and the sun is going to bring this out. So Sun Scorpios, don't underestimate their quietness, their introvertedness. There's a lot of energy that's going on within, and because this energy is in Sun, it will come out and they can express themselves in very strong, impulsive ways. You know, they can be very dramatic when the time comes. It could be like the end of the world type of drama. So, you know, these people are definitely drama loaded. Also with Sun and Scorpios, they are observers and readers of energy. Okay, so a lot of their actions, you know, if they don't explode, you know, minus like the episodes where they do explode, a lot of times the way that they act on their energy is through intuition. So they observe a lot. They read people energy. Sun Scorpios, they kind of enter a room and they're like reading everyone, and seeing everyone's energy and feeling people out. They're very intuitive. So that's how they operate. They operate through intuition and being very introverted. And that again is like being quiet and not really saying much, but gaining a lot of information from the people around them. They're reading energy, they're observing, they're feeling a lot of energy. They're very intuitive and they're great readers of the room. The sun sign is like your aura. So the aura of a Sun Scorpio is very intense. You can feel their intense energy, and that's what makes them like mysterious, and like you're curious about them because you're like, hey, this person, this Sun Scorpio is so quiet, but like I can feel the tension like in their aura, like their energy, and it's like you can only just want to look and see like what is about them, what is going on. And it's because there's a lot going on, so that intense energy and aura does come out. And Sun Scorpios probably don't want us to know that, because you know they're very secret. They don't like telling out their secrets, but this is Sun Scorpio, so I'm gonna have to tell the secrets. Also, Sun Scorpios like to get into deep relationships. Okay, they love to get into relationships, not in the superficial way, like a light way, like Libra, but it's more in a deep way. So they like to make deep interactions with people. Deep relationships cause deep connections. Also, Sun Scorpios, they love to show off their power and their dominance. This is going to be very important. Sun deals with what we want to show off. And Scorpio values power. It values power, it values control, dominance. So a lot of times Sun Scorpio, they like being intimidating. They like the fact that people are intimidated by them. They like the fact that people step back from them because they like to exert energy of dominance. This is a way for them to protect themselves, to protect their energy, and to have control over their reality. They love power and control because they deal with a lot of that going against them. So it's in their ego, it's in their will to kind of fight and get their power back. So dominance and power is very important for them, and Sun Scorpios are gonna like to express that. So they like being intimidating, they like scaring people off. If they have an outfit on that's like creepy and people don't want to be around them, they love that. That's great. And even if it's not in their image, just the way that they act, they love to express their dominance and their power amongst people because they like their own power. Okay, for better and for worse, because you can have healthy Scorpios who just understand strong boundaries and how to be serious, and then you can have some unhealthy Scorpios who take it to the level of, you know, violating other people's boundaries, which is like negative side Scorpio. But they do like to exert their power. They do like to show off their dominance. Also with Sun Scorpios, they're very sexual. This is a very sexual energy. Sun is very much your sexual energy and how you express it. And you put in Scorpio. Scorpio is very sexual, very intense in that way. So they're gonna love intimacy, sex in that type of way. They're gonna like to express themselves in a sexual way. That can also make them very desiring, very alluring. That's why people are always like very attracted to Scorpios, because not only are they mysterious, but they're also sexually attractive. You know, people can find that very alluring. Like people just like pay attention to them, and they have a lot of that energy. So Sun in Scorpio is definitely a very sexual sign. I wouldn't say active because they could be very conservative about who they deal with, but they do enjoy sexual energy. They are a very sexual sign. That was Sun in Scorpio. Now we're moving on to Moon Scorpio, okay? When you have your Moon in Scorpio. And when it comes to your Moon sign, this is the emotions. So this is feeling Scorpio energy. Okay, you're not like just acting it out in your ego, but this is something you truly deep down feel. About Moon Scorpios is these people are super private, okay? If Sun in Scorpio was private, yes, but the thing about Sun in Scorpio is Sun kind of brings your energy out there. So sometimes Sun Scorpios want to hide, but they can't because their energy is out there. Moon is your inside energy, so you can keep a lot of this energy inside. People don't even have to know really what your moon sign is. It might take a long time for people to understand your moon sign because it's hidden. So moon Scorpios are super private. They're super private, and they can keep things private. They can contain their energy and keep it private, unlike the Sun Scorpio that has it kind of spilling out in their aura. You can keep a lot of things private with Moon Scorpio. So Moon Scorpio are the most private. They really have a secret inner world. You know, if a Moon Scorpio has like a Sun Libra, you might think they're the most happiest people in the world, not knowing what the things that they have inside that are so intense and deep. So Moon Scorpios are super private, super deep. They have a lot of secrets, a lot of just a strong inner world that they really keep to themselves, and they really value secrecy, and they can really keep the secret. Moon in Scorpio also has very intense emotions, okay? Very, very intense emotions. Even more intense than Sun Scorpio, because Sun Scorpio gets to express their energy a little bit more. With Moon in Scorpio, a lot of things are inner, and they get stuck inside. And because they're so inside and they're so stuck inside, it boils up and intensifies and intensifies and intensifies and intensifies, because there's so much being held in. There's so much energy being held in. So their emotions are super intense. They feel it very strongly with Moon and Scorpio. Very emotional sign, very intense emotions. And because they have very intense emotions, they are super intuitive, okay? There's nothing more intuitive than Moon Scorpio. Like Sun Scorpio, definitely they're very intuitive. They read the room, but Moon and Scorpio, it's even more intuitive because this is in Moon. You have to understand Moon. Your Moon placement is intuition. It deals with your intuition, your inner world, your intuitive, your psychic abilities. You put it in Scorpio and it's magnified. When you put Moon in Scorpio, the intuition is like superpower. You feel everything. You can feel people very easily. This can even be psychic abilities if it gets to that point. But you can read and feel people's energies naturally. You're naturally very sensitive, naturally have those emotions. So you just walk into the room and you can just feel everyone's energy. It's so powerful. There is not much actions that you would have to take with Moon Scorpio. Sun Scorpio, you might have to deliberately try to read people, but Moon and Scorpio, it's like you're getting all this energy. You're just getting all this energy. So the intuition is at an ultimate high, okay? Because Moon is intuitive. So Moon in a water sign is always going to be super intuitive. So the intuition with Moon and Scorpios are so strong. You can't lie to these people. These people know things. These people can have psychic abilities. They're incredible readers of energy. They feel a lot of people's energies. Very strong. When it comes to your Moon sign, this is going to represent what you feel most comfortable with, okay? This is what you've grown up with. Your Moon sign represents your family, how your family was, how they raised you. And with Moon Scorpios, they're most comfortable in intensity and transformation, in isolation. Okay, they've dealt with a lot of intense energies through their family, a lot of toxic stuff, and a lot of times they have to transform and they have to change. So they're used to intensity. Okay, they like meaningful relationships, and relationships that are very deep, that penetrate them, for better or for worse. If you're a healthy Scorpio, you're gonna like the positive energy from the intense relationship, the things that actually help you become deeper and more connected. If you're more on the negative side, you can deal with the more toxic intensity traits. But one thing that's always going to be standard is the intensity. These people like intensity, they like transformation. This is what they feel comfortable with. So something shallow and not too serious is not going to be something that they're going to be into or they're going to be comfortable with. They're going to look at it as superficial. This is not a superficial energy. These are people who deal with a lot growing up in their family, so they're used to intense energy. And they can use it for their benefit or for worse, but they're always going to be most comfortable with something that is transformative, something that is intense, something that is emotionally deep. And that could be positive or negative, but it will definitely be intense. Yes, and with Moon and Scorpios, their home life could have been toxic. They could have dealt with a lot of toxic issues, debt, abuse, the loss of a family member, like just a lot of intense stuff that comes with Scorpio. And this makes them have to transform. Okay, they got to transform, they got to change, because you can't stay in the toxicity. Okay, so growing up with Moon and Scorpio could have been really hard emotionally on you. This can cause depression. This can cause a lot of mental issues, toxic family, abusive family, of any sort, of any way. This could have really, really affected you with Moon and Scorpio. It's not an easy placement. But because of this, with Moon and Scorpios, they take their home very seriously because of the toxic energy they've dealt with and been through in their life. They take their energy very seriously. So when it comes to their home life, they like to protect it. They want their homes to be completely controlled and dominated by them. They're tired of people interfering with their lives. Their home life were very toxic, so they want the power back. So they take their home lives seriously. With Moon and Scorpio, they want complete control and power over their home, over their comfort. Complete control and power. And these are people who move out on their own. They can cut off their family members and move out on their own, so that they're just with themselves and they don't have to deal with any toxic family members and toxic people. This is taking the power back in your home and taking that full control. So control over your home life is very important with Moon Scorpio. Also with Moon and Scorpios, you can trauma bond with other people. I always say your moon sign is who you are most compatible with. So you could be compatible with other people and bond with people through relationships, through trauma. Okay, trauma bonding. And this could be positive or negative, because, you know, we know the negative side of trauma bonding. But the more positive side of trauma bonding is understanding that someone's been through something and you've really deep, and you've been through something really deep too. And because you guys both have learned from those lessons, you guys can both come together and connect on that very deep level. So trauma bonding isn't always a negative thing. Okay, there's healing. There's a healing process. So if you're a healed person, trauma bonding would just be bonding with someone who's also dealt with things too, and you guys are both healed, and you guys can both connect and relate to each other like that. That's what creates a very deep, intimate relationship. But that could definitely be, you know, Moon to Scorpios. They do attach, they get into relationships with people who are intense, who've been through things, who go through transformation. So very intense with Moon and Scorpio. Okay, now moving on to Scorpio Mercury. Okay, Mercury Scorpios. Okay, now this placement, you communicate Scorpio energy. Okay, you communicate like a Scorpio. With Mercury Scorpio people, they can communicate a lot of dark thoughts, a lot of taboo things, a lot of things that people don't want to hear out loud, but you say it anyway because you're very deep and intense. So your communication style is that way. You speak very dark, taboo things, okay, with Mercury and Scorpio. You can also be very blunt and straightforward with your communication. Scorpio is about the deep, the depths, the truth, you know, the down and the dirty. So these people are not sugarcoating anything. There's no sugarcoating at all. Mercury Scorpio people will say it just like it is. No chaser, no nothing. So a lot of people can see their communication style is very blunt and very straightforward, because they're not going to sugarcoat anything. They're going to tell you the real strong truth, okay? And they can handle it because they're a very dark energy, so they can handle the truth, and that's how they communicate it. Also, Mercury and Scorpio people are very intuitive. They can really read, but in between the lines. They're very intellectual with their intuition. So not only are they intuitive and they can feel people's energy and get information on an intuitive level, but they also can intellectualize it, okay? So they can read in between the lines. They can use a lot of what they feel and use it as information and use logic to kind of make sense of it. Okay, so this makes them very intellectually intuitive. I like to say intellectually intuitive, can read in between the lines of what people are saying and doing and what people are feeling, can make a lot of conclusions about the energies that they're getting, because you could be very intuitive, like you have Moon and Scorpio, you could be very intuitive, but you might not understand, you know, what is the energy that you're getting, what it means. But with Mercury and Scorpio, Mercury is that intellect. You can intellectualize your intuition. So these people are very smart. Not only do they gain information from their intuition, but they can intellectualize it and make sense about it. And it makes them very smart, okay? And this is like psychological communication. Scorpio, Mercury and Scorpio is like very much like psychological communication. You know, communicating people psychologically, using reverse psychology even. It can be very tricky in that way. Or they could just really speak and talk to someone and tell them their subconscious, okay, on a very deep level. So that is very psychology. Mercury and Scorpio is very psychological. Also at Mercury and Scorpio, you can have a very dark, creepy voice even, okay? The way you communicate can be very creepy, or it could be very dark, or it could be very quiet or mysterious. You can have a very dark tone, a very scary tone. So even the tone of your voice and how you communicate can be very dark. Also, your communication can be very sexual too, okay? That tags along with the taboo, okay? Scorpios are very sexual energy, so they can communicate very sexually with Mercury and Scorpio. Also, with Mercury and Scorpio, it's very important to understand that they can have very dark thoughts, okay? Dark, depressing thoughts. You want to fix this because this could be an issue with having too many dark thoughts. It can make you think and look at the world in a very dark way. Everything is very pessimistic, so you want to look at the higher frequency, or look at the more positive aspect of the darker things that you're thinking. So instead of just being negative, use your dark thoughts to understand the darker meanings of this world and the things that people don't want to look at. But you want to avoid getting into a habit of being a pessimistic with Scorpio and Mercury, because you're thinking all these dark thoughts. You have to look at your dark thoughts as being able to see and understand things that people shy away from and don't want to look at. But don't look at it like this is just the whole world and how your life should be lived, because it can make you very depressed, okay? You got to see those dark thoughts as more of a power, that you're not scared to look deeply and where people don't want to look, versus just thinking that everything is just negative and everything is miserable, because it can make you depressed. Also at Mercury and Scorpio, you're a natural detective. You know, I said Mercury and Scorpio is very psychological, very intuitive. So these people are natural detectives. And I say detectives because detectives are always looking for mysteries and hints, and they have to be intuitive too. And they're looking into things that are dark, you know, things that, you know, that aren't the most positive. So this is perfect for Mercury and Scorpio. And also with Mercury and Scorpio, you have a very transformative mind. Okay, so you're all about transforming the mind, thinking differently. So this goes along with healing your dark thoughts. This is all about transforming the mind. So you can think a certain way in one moment of your life, and then you finally transform that. You're tired of it, you see the negatives, you've purged it all out, and now you have a different way of thinking. So very transformative mind. These are people who can really change their mindset after getting rid of the old mindset and the old negative ways. So definitely an attribute with Mercury Scorpio. Now we're moving on to Scorpio Mars. Okay, Scorpio Mars. Okay, now this is Scorpio in your physical energy and your adrenaline. Okay, this is Mars, so it's like your adrenaline. It's connected to your like biology, your physical body. So the first thing with Mars and Scorpio Mars, is that you have a very intense body. Like the adrenaline is intense here. Scorpio is deep. You gotta think of Scorpio like boiling water, like a volcano that's ready to erupt. So you put this in Mars, which deals with your adrenaline, your body. Your Scorpio Mars people have a lot of intense energy physically. They're just physically intense. There's a lot of energy in their body. And it feels intense. It feels like an inner energy that's waiting to explode. This is really good for Mars because Mars is all about your energy. So Scorpio here gives it a lot of energy because of that intensity and that focus. Okay, Scorpio is very focused, very intense. So it intensifies that Mars energy, which is great. These people can be very athletic. These people can be highly motivated. These people can push through with the Mars energy. This is why Mars does well in Scorpio, because again, Mars likes energy and Scorpio has a lot of it. It's just tense and inner. So again, you could be very highly motivated with Mars and Scorpio. You can have a lot of physical energy with Mars and Scorpio. Very good for motivation, getting things going, okay? That strong, intense energy. This is good for athletics, okay? This is good for physical movement because you need energy. You need power to go through. You know, think about training, think about working out. You need energy, you need motivation. So Mars and Scorpio is perfect for that. With Mars and Scorpio, you have a very intuitive body. So your body is very like, you have a strong instinct, okay? Your instincts are strong. You could just get a really gut instinct and a feeling, okay? Very instinctive with Mars and Scorpio because, again, Scorpio is intuitive, it feels, and then Mars is very expressive, it's out there. So you're kind of like very like similar to like animals. You know how animals get these instincts and they move and they take action like a lion? That is the energy I get from Mars and Scorpio. You're very instinctive, like your instincts are strong, they're powerful. You get it and you move and you hit it really hard. Like your instincts are very strong. You can sense danger. It's like very animalistic with Mars and Scorpio, and I don't mean that in an insulting way. I mean that in the best way. Okay, Mars is our instincts, but Scorpio intensifies it with that intuition and that intensity. So there's a lot of natural instincts, okay? Instinct, it's really good for taking action, especially if you're in a dangerous situation. So Mars and Scorpio definitely have that. Also with Mars and Scorpio, you have a very transformative body. So you can go through a phase where you look a certain way, maybe you're chubby, and then you go through a phase where you lose weight, and then you go through a phase where you gain a lot of muscle. You can transform and change your body a lot with Mars and Scorpio because of the intensities and the trials that you feel and go through. Also with Mars and Scorpio, the anger and the rage is crazy here, okay? With Sun and Scorpio, they have a lot of intense, energy. They can explode, but Mars and Scorpio, 100%. Okay, so you got to be careful with these people because, again, Scorpio is more hidden. It's more, conservative, but with Mars here, it can really come out, and it comes out strong. The anger is strong here. Also, these people can keep a lot of grudges too. Okay, Mars rules that anger, that adrenaline, and Scorpio is intense. They can keep a lot of grudges, and they can have energy boiling inside, just waiting to erupt. Mars will erupt the energy. Other placements in Scorpio, they can keep their energy inside for a longer time. Mars, this is going to be a little bit shorter. It can erupt, and it will erupt big and strongly because Mars is very strong, and so is Scorpio. So this is very powerful energy. These people can explode. These people can pop off. These people can go into like a whole rage. So watch out for that with Mars and Scorpio. Also, the sexual energy with Mars and Scorpio is super intense here and a big part of their energy. Mars is very much about our sexual energy in a very direct way, our physical body. And Scorpio is intuitive sexual energy, very intense. So these people are very strongly connected with their sexuality, okay? They can have a lot of this energy, really enjoy bonding with people through sexual energy. The sexual energy here is strong, like one of the strongest sexual placements, okay? So there's a lot of sexual energy here. They could be hypersexual, not all the time. Scorpio is still very conservative, so they're very picky about who they want to be sexual with. It's not like a fire on fire sign, like Mars Sagittarius could be all over the place, but still the energy with it that they're holding is very strong. So they have very strong sexual energy, even through their bodies as well too. Their body can be presented very sexually, like just naturally what they have biologically. So with Mars and Scorpio, there could be lots of fights and tension, okay, getting into extreme fights, and rage, again with that Mars and Scorpio energy. So very intense here, okay? This is like boiling water. This is like a volcano waiting to erupt. And with Venus and Scorpio, there is a lot of trauma when it comes to love, okay? Love, Venus rules love, our dating life, our romantic life. When you put Venus in Scorpio, there's trauma in this. It's not the easiest way, okay? So a lot of Scorpio Venus energy, it deals with a lot of trauma with love and relationships, and this can be very upsetting and depressing. Love can be very depressing. and traumatic for Venus and Scorpio, so it's not easy with this placement. However, with the trauma they have in love, they're still very sexually attractive. Venus is all about attraction, Scorpio is all about that alluring, deep sexual energy, so they're very attractive in that way, sexually, however. But that can still lead into the wrong things, because Venus is very classy. Venus is about dating. Venus is about romance. It's about courting. But when you put it in Scorpio, yes, you're magnetic. Yes, you're very alluring. A lot of people are going to be very sexually attracted to you, but that's the problem. It's just sexual. So it can attract the wrong types of people. So even though you're like attractive, it's going to be in a very sexual way that can be unattractive to Venus, because Venus needs dating. Venus needs courtship. Venus needs romance. And that Scorpio energy is very intense. It kind of like makes it more sexual, and that can turn things off, and that can backfire. And that, again, it leads to the trauma and stuff like that. Also, with Venus and Scorpios, they're very all or nothing when it comes to their relationships and love. It's all or nothing. They're so serious. Again, the trauma they've been through, they want someone who's deeply committed. They're not going to trust anyone. They're not going to trust anybody. So if they want to be with you, it has to be a deep commitment. They want all or nothing. They do not trust people easily. This is what happens when Venus goes into Scorpio. Also, Venus and Scorpio can cause jealousy, okay? People can be very jealous of your relationships, of your partnerships. You can get into situations where you find out that there's a third party, or you got cheated on. Something just happens that causes a sense of like, oh my gosh, like I can't trust people. People could be after you in a jealous way. You're very alluring, but in a dark way. So people could be jealous of your relationships. People could be jealous of you. You can attract partners that are jealous of you, that only want to be with you to conquer you, versus to have an equal pairing. So the jealousy, the drama is intense here, and this is what makes Scorpio Venuses very conservative or insecure, whichever route you go, conservative or insecure, because of these issues that come in, the jealousy, the partnerships, it's just a lot. With Venus and Scorpios, they're going to love transformative love. So they transform a lot in their relationships, and breaking things off, divorcing, breaking up with someone, getting rid of someone is a big part of Scorpio Venus's journey, because this means that they're practicing having boundaries, okay? Because of the trauma that they go through, they have to take love a lot more seriously. So a lot of times breaking off with people is the best thing for a Scorpio Venus to do. That's their form of transforming. Maybe you're in this toxic relationship and you finally break it off because you're tired of it. And not only do you break off that relationship, but you break off that energy of being with someone who's like that. So it's deep, the ending of things, ending stuff with Venus and Scorpio, ending relationships is a part of your growth, because you're getting rid of the toxic people and traits and habits that you get into relationships to. So breaking off with people is part of your transformation. It's part of getting better as a Venus and Scorpio, because you're not just getting rid of the person, but you're getting rid of those attributes that come with those types of people. You're no longer associating yourself with those toxic relationships. So Venus and Scorpio people do have to go through transformations and have to end relationships with people in order for them to grow and transform. And Venus and Scorpios, because of this, they can be very hard to get. A lot of times when they're vibrating in a high vibration, they're hard to get, because they're not here for the BS, they're not here for the games, they're not here for the time wasting, they're not here for the trauma, they've been through it, they're done. So they can play very hard to get, and this is part of them protecting themselves and securing themselves. Also, with Venus and Scorpio, you can be very creative in a dark way, okay? So you can maybe make poetry, but very dark poetry, okay? You can have a certain creativity. Maybe you're a singer and you like to sing very deep emotional songs, okay? Maybe you're a painter and you like to paint very dark drawings, beautifully dark drawings though. Like, your creativity can have a lot of depth and darkness to it. Now moving on to Scorpio and Jupiter Scorpios, okay? Now this is gonna be your expansion in Scorpio energy. So with Jupiter and Scorpios, these people, like, it expands Scorpio energy, and Scorpio deals with trauma, it deals with dark energy, it deals with occult, it deals with taboo things. So these things in your life are expanded. Unfortunately, yes, These things are expanded in your life. So you have a lot of opportunities in life to deal with trauma, basically. But because you have a lot of these opportunities, there's a lot to learn. So with Jupiter and Scorpio people, they go through a lot of trauma and it's expanded in their life, and they have all these opportunities to deal with trauma, whether it be debt, stealing, death, whatever it is. But because they have so many of these experiences, it makes them very smart in it. You know, they're not going to be so taken off guard. And there's a lot that they learn from this. You know, Jupiter is very philosophical, it's very spiritual, it's very educational. So these people can learn a lot from their experiences and gain a lot of knowledges from their trauma because they experience it so much. Also, because they experience it so much, they can have a very optimistic approach to their trauma. So even though they have a lot, because they experience it so much, they're used to it. They kind of like, oh, I know what this is again. Oh, I know what this is going to be again. Yep, I know what this situation is going to be again. And they can also, and because it happens so much, it's almost funny to you. You can pretty much predict it. You know what's going to happen. It can almost be funny to you. They can have a very optimistic way of dealing with it. Also, because it's happening to you often, you know how to navigate through these traumas, through these obstacles. And that, on top of that, pushes the optimism. Okay, because Jupiter is very optimistic. And, you know, it's all about abundance. So it's like Jupiter and Scorpio people, they bounce back really quick from their trauma. They bounce back really quick. It's that Jupiter energy. They learn a lot from it. They can have a very sarcastic relationship with their trauma. They could bounce back from it. They also can have really amazing philosophies, okay, about certain situations. So if you're going through a lot, a Jupiter Scorpio person can be a great person to talk to because they've been through a lot and they understand it. So they can give you the bigger picture. They can tell you, hey, this is happening for your betterment. Jupiter and Scorpios are going to be the one to tell you that this negative thing is happening for your betterment. And they're going to tell you how it's going to better your life and how to navigate through it. So that optimism is really great. Jupiter and Scorpio, it's hard because, again, you deal through a lot of trauma. It's not that fun for Jupiter to deal with so much trauma. It's very restrictive, and Jupiter likes its freedom. So it is upsetting, but eventually you get so used to it and you learn so much from all these experiences that you're optimistic, you know how to navigate, and you know how to come back. These are people who die and come back up, and die and resurrect, rebirth. So they're strong. They have a lot of that in their philosophy for life. They see it as this is happening because it's happening, and it's going to be for the betterment of you. And there's a lot that they can share through their traumas. So as hard as this is, it's also, there's a positive aspect to it with that Jupiter energy, and it makes you very philosophical. It gives you a lot to teach people, and it helps you navigate through the dark obstacles in life. You can also have a very strong understanding and occult knowledge. Scorpio deals with the occult. It deals with the hidden life, the hidden stuff, that taboo stuff that people don't want to talk about. And with Jupiter here, your expansion, you know, you're very philosophical, so you can be a master of occult knowledge, have a lot of occult knowledge, know a lot about the dark stuff, the things that happen behind the scene. You know, you have a very big picture of it. You're very philosophical of it. You understand the purpose of all of these energies, these dark energies going on. So that's what's so great about Jupiter and Scorpio. Now moving on to Scorpio and Saturn. So if your Scorpio is in Saturn, Saturn restricts everything. It restricts Scorpio energy. If Scorpio and Saturn, you're gonna have a lot of restrictions. You're gonna have a lot of restrictions, a lot of obstacles. It's almost kind of similar to Jupiter and Scorpio, except Jupiter and Scorpio expands this. With Saturn and Scorpio, it feels like a restriction. Okay, you're gonna feel very heavily restricted because Saturn deals with discipline and Scorpio deals with emotional discipline. Saturn's like practical discipline, Scorpio's like emotional discipline. So you're combining these two energies. Both energies restrict. So there's a strong sense of discipline with Saturn and Scorpio. Life is serious with Saturn and Scorpio. These are very serious people. They take life seriously because they deal with so much restrictions and obstacles on a practical and emotional level. This could be financial issues, debt, losing your house. I mean, just like so many strong restrictions, powerful restrictions in life that make you take life seriously and make you super, super disciplined. So, the thing about Scorpio and Saturn is Scorpio is already a very negative sign. It deals with the darkness. It deals with the emotional obstacles. So when you put in Saturn, it's very familiar with this kind of restrictive energy, obstacles, dealing with challenges. So Saturn Scorpio people, they go through a lot, but they have a lot of resilience, okay? It makes them super, super resilient. Okay, Jupiter and Scorpio people, they can go through a time in their life where they're really depressed because they can't understand why they're going through so much bad luck. Where Saturn and Scorpio, they can more so easily accept this. It's almost like they understand life is hard. So their resilience is strong. They build a strong resilience. These people can handle anything that comes to them. I mean, any dark thing that comes to them. They take life seriously. They don't look at things like fun and games. They're not hoping for an optimistic release and then getting disappointed like the Jupiter and Scorpio. Saturn and Scorpio, no. They're like, no, life is dark, life is intense, and this is how we're going to deal with it, and they can handle it. So these people have a strong resilience for negative things happening. They can handle it. They'll work hard. They expect it to happen. They'll work hard and they'll work out of it. The resilience here is strong in so many ways. Okay, people with Saturn Scorpio, because they've been through so much financially, spiritually, so much karma, so much negative energies, they know how to handle it. Okay, they know how to handle it. They expect it, and this creates a strong resilience so they can handle anything. Scorpio is very intense and it's passionate and it focuses on something. Saturn deals with ambition and building something, working hard to build something. Not only are these people incredibly resilient, but they're also incredibly ambitious. Saturn and Scorpio people are so ambitious. They will work till the end of time. They will work to get to where they need to get to. They are so ambitious. Their resilience is strong. These are people who can become really powerful in life, be in strong positions, become a CEO, work really hard and work their way up in their company. They can start off very poor and end up very rich because they worked, they put the hours, they put the years, they put the effort, because they're so resilient in their discipline. Something goes off in their business, oh well, boom, let's get into it. They know how to work hard. The resilience, the discipline with this placement is incredible. It's incredible. Nothing can stop them. So this makes a very powerful person. And these people are very power orientated. Saturn Scorpio people are very power orientated. Saturn is all about career. Okay, making it big. Okay, climbing to the top. Scorpio is intense. It focuses, it's deep, it's very ambitious. When you put this energy in together, there's nothing that can stop it. These people can be in very powerful positions in their career, make lots and lots of money, be very stable. And they can do this because they don't expect nothing good from life. They really don't. So they're willing to go and hit hard, and that's what makes them so resilient. So very powerful people, very strong people, could be in high positions. Very career orientated people, really want to make something out of their lives, want to make lots of money, want to stabilize themselves, want to protect themselves. There's strong protection with Saturn Scorpio. These people really do not play with people. Again, they've been through a lot, so they don't play. They have a serious attitude and serious mindset, and this makes them very ambitious and make them very successful in life. Okay, again, these people are like bosses, natural bosses with Saturn Scorpio, natural bosses, and can climb the ladder in life and end up in the top. Very ambitious, very career orientated. Okay, can make so much money in this lifetime. Very powerful, have very strong boundaries, play no games. Okay, this is a placement that plays no games. And again, it's very serious. It's not an easy placement, but it's sort of easy because Scorpio is in its element. Scorpio deals with restriction. It understands that. Saturn deals with restriction too. It understands Scorpio. So they can work together and build. Okay, and again, the amount of money, the type of career, it could be so big, you could be so huge with this placement. People with this placement, don't let the obstacles tear you down. You have the endurance to handle them better than any other placement. Now Scorpio and Uranus, okay, Scorpio, Uranus, Scorpios. Okay, now this is innovating Scorpio energy, So Uranus can also deal with the generation, okay? It's not just your personal personality. A lot of people have the same Uranus sign throughout years. So this can not only explain your personality, but a generation of people. So with Uranus and Scorpio, you come from a generation where nobody trusts anybody. A lot of people do not trust other people with Uranus and Scorpio. Uranus deals with the collective and society. And with Scorpio here, Scorpio is very conservative, okay? Scorpio is very hidden, very mysterious. So you can come from a generation where they just don't trust each other. Everyone's very conservative. Everyone's like, don't trust you, you know, very type of like hidden, conservative, protective like generation. So people have their boundaries as a collective, and this can even lead to trust issues. You know, this could be a generation that has a lot of community trust issues. Also with Uranus and Scorpio, you can have very innovative occult knowledge. Scorpio deals with the occult knowledge. This is like witchcraft, tarot, you know, things that are taboo that we don't really speak about, you know. But, you know, when you have Uranus here, Uranus is like the genius, okay? So it innovates, it intellectualizes, okay? So you can have outer box occult knowledge, like thinking outside the box when it comes to occult and hidden knowledge. So this is a generation that's very unique. You know, they have very unique topics, very unique subjects, maybe very innovative ways of doing tarot, maybe innovative ways of looking at taboo things such as witchcraft. Like, you innovated, okay? You can add technology to these kind of magical taboo things. Like, it is very innovative here. Maybe this could be a generation that creates like a technological device for tarot readings. This is like a generation that's into like very interesting, unique ideas that people haven't heard of, that can creep people out a bit, that could be very mysterious and very unique, you know, to do tarot through a device, and it could just read energy like that. Like, it is something very technological, but still very occult and spiritual, and you're just putting the energies together. So very, like, I would consider this like a genius magical generation, like just very innovative occult knowledge. This could be a generation that has an innovative way of dealing with sex, okay? Maybe use technology now. Instead of being physical and intimate with people, Uranus innovates this and makes it more technological, okay? Makes it more of an experience that's more detached, okay? Adding technology into sexual energy. You know, you can come with amazing, you know, I don't know, sexual toys or something like that. It's innovating sexual energy. So there's a generation that's very innovative with it. And this can also cause the detachment, because if you're using technology to, you know, to deal with sex, it could be a detached way. You know, probably don't need to deal with the physical body. You're just dealing with the devices. So again, very innovative energy. Also, the technology can transform a lot, okay? Scorpio deals with transformations, which is big changes. So in Uranus is technology. So the technology in this era, in this generation, can be super innovative, transformative. You know, this could be a generation that went through huge advances in technology, like huge advances because of that Scorpio energy transforming things. Also, there could be a lot of death and destruction, okay, when it comes to technology, okay? Scorpio is about destruction, it is about destroying the ending of things. So technology could be dangerous. It could be used to destroy people. There could be technology constantly being used to destroy people. So you got to be careful with that as well too. I mean, this is a very, Uranus and Scorpio is just very creepy, kind of scary. This could be a generation with the eagle eye, okay? Scorpio is very intense. It's very intuitive. It's a reader of energy. You put it in Uranus, you can use that technology for the whole collective. So it's kind of like the eagle eye, like everyone sees everyone, a type of technology that can see everybody, see what everyone's doing. You know, very Uranus and Scorpio. So you're very like this, and this is probably why the generation doesn't trust anyone, because they know that there's a camera that's seeing everyone. The eagle eye. The eagle eye is literally Uranus and Scorpio. Now, Scorpio and Neptune, okay? Neptune, Scorpio, okay? Now, this is the magical energy of Scorpio, okay? The imagination, okay? The psychic ability of Scorpio, which Scorpio is already psychic. So with Neptune Scorpio, this is a generation, because Neptune is also a generational planet too. A lot of people have the same Neptune sign. Extreme occultism, extreme occult. Neptune deals with occult knowledge. It deals with psychic abilities, deals with tarot, deals with magic. It deals with reading people, meditation, prayer, all those spirituality things that are occult and different are done privately. You put it in Scorpio. Scorpio is all about occult as well too, but it's intense and it's deep and it's dark. This is a generation that loves magic, loves witchcraft, loves astrology, loves tarot, loves just all the occult stuff that we talk about. Loves this. This generation can be completely defined by it. Very much with Scorpio and Neptune, okay? All of these practices are definitely done with this type of generation. You kind of have to watch out, because occult practices, I don't glamorize them, because there's a huge shadow side to it. You know, tapping into other people's energies, doing readings on people, spells on other people, you know. A lot of times it's seen as taboo, not because people also like have a trouble believing in like spiritual energy and magic, but also because there's a lot of sneaky things that are done with spiritual and magic and occult stuff. Tarot, reading on people's energies, psychic abilities, reading on people's energies, throwing spells at people, you knowing someone's astrology chart fully and using it against them. Like, there's a lot of devious things that can be done. And with Scorpio energy, which is very sneaky, and Neptune, you gotta be careful. This is just a lot of witchcraft. This is a generation that has a lot of witchcraft. You got to be careful. You have to be careful spiritually. And Scorpio is all about spiritual protection, okay? You don't trust everyone. You put it into Neptune, you're not going to be able to trust everyone. You don't want to trust everyone with Scorpio Neptune generation, because you don't know who is doing spells, who is doing what behind your back. You don't know. So it can be very, very, very icky with Neptune and Scorpio. You got to be careful. Yes, the occult knowledge and energy is there, which is amazing. It gives us a lot of power into the dark side, into the shadow side, which is amazing. That's a gift in itself. However, it can be used for a lot of wrong reasons, and it can be very shadowy and dark, and you don't know what's going on, and you have to really protect yourself spiritually with this type of generation. Neptune and Scorpio, you got to protect yourself spiritually, because there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. Dark arts, all that type of stuff. Also, this can be a generation that has a lot of dark creativity, very creative in a dark way. So the music is dark, okay? The art is dark, still beautiful and very artistic, but dark. There's a dark energy to it. The music can be dark, the paintings, the architect, the way that we design our world, our houses, things could just be dark. It could give like Gotham energy. Like Gotham energy with Neptune Scorpio. It's a very dark, creative, witchy generation. I was really witchy. It's also a generation of strong psychic ability, and also be careful of abuse of magic, okay? There's a lot of abuse of magic with this generation. So that's Neptune and Scorpio, okay? Really mystical, very witchy. And last but not least, Pluto and Scorpio and Pluto. And this is actually my generation. I have Pluto and Scorpio. I'm a millennial. But this is Scorpio at home. And this is a generation that is all about transformation. Scorpio is about change and transformation. And one thing I know about my Pluto and Scorpio generations, we went through a lot of transformations. We went from the 90s, the 80s and 90s, where there was very little technology, to the 2000s, where we started getting booming internet, until now where it's like social media, everything's changing. We've been through so many changes. We've seen our world change drastically. Like literally, it feels like every couple decades feels like a different era, like we're in a different era. Like if you're in the 90s, that's so different from the 2000s, and then from the 2010s. Like it's so different. The technology, the transformation, the world, the way the world works, it has done some drastic transformation. So this is a generation that is all about change and transformation. They're all about doing things differently. They're all about getting rid of something and the death of certain things and doing things a new way. So lots of change and transformation with this generation. This generation is also very taboo. Okay, lots of dark energy with this generation. Okay, I come from the generation that dealt with the scare, growing up like in the 90s. I'm a 90s baby, but I was growing throughout the generation. There was a lot of taboo. The music was very dark. You know, you had like hip hop music and rock and heavy metal, like very dark energies, you know, the grunge of the 90s, you know. Also, Scorpio deals with sexual energy, but the taboo of sexual energy. So there was a lot of sex that was being pushed through the music, pushed through the mainstream, hypersexual. And there was also a lot of dangers with it, the diseases, okay? The STIs, all these things that came with the sexual things. So that's very Pluto in Scorpio. It deals with, you know, the sexual energy also in a negative way. Okay, the death, the dying of things, you know, death coming out of, you know, sexual energy, you know, with the viruses and stuff like that. So a lot of those taboo things. Pluto and Scorpio is very taboo generation. So we dealt with a lot of that, a lot of those scares, a lot of that, very dark energy. But this dark energy allows us to transform. Now you're seeing a lot of medicines that can heal certain diseases. You're seeing, you know, again, the transformation, the change. You know, you go through one thing so that you can come out another way. It's that rebirth generation. Generation also deals with trauma, relationship abuse, obstacles, and stuff like that. You know, our generation, Pluto Scorpio generation, we talk a lot about the older generations and how they raised us and how it was very traumatic and how they had to change their ways. It's a huge topic. It's a topic for every generation, but especially my generation. It's like a big thing to talk about how our parents raised us, how Gen X, how baby boomers and Gen X raised us, and how we're tired of it. You've seen how millennials have drastically changed the way that they raise their children versus how we were taught to raise our children. Very, very, very drastically different. Again, it's that transformation. It's going through the abuse, the power struggles, all those types of stuff, and coming out of it to change. So you want your power back. So a very resilient generation, very intuitive, okay? Very intuitive. We don't trust everyone. We've seen all the things that happen, so we're not easily gonna trust people. You know, we have to, like, people have to earn our trust. You know, with Pluto and Scorpio generation, people have to earn our trust because of the things that have happened. There's boundaries with emotions. It's not just, oh, because someone's family, everything's fine. No, you still create boundaries, okay? That's that Pluto Scorpio energy, that Pluto Scorpio generation. It's like boundaries. It's learning from the trauma and creating healthier ways of dealing and managing life. All these transformations. And it's a dark world with Pluto and Scorpio, a very dark world, okay? It's a dark world. You got to take life seriously because of the things that come. So very important with that, okay? And yes, that is Scorpio through the planets, okay? I hope you enjoyed that very intense Scorpio energy. Tell me what you guys think. What is your guys' placements? Okay, if you have some of these placements, let me know in the comment section below. And I'll check you guys out in the next video. Thanks for watching.